After all this time of keeping this intangible knowledge to yourself and searching for concepts and verbiage to better articulate these intangibles, you have been pacing your cage, testing the limitation you exist as. To articulate some of these concepts, you might say, number one, you are a limit, which is to say that since you are a single individual with a consciousness of your own, and that you even think you are a you, means you have a limit. Okay? Number two, this limit is so able to be perceived in various ways, it's ridiculous. You watch other folks buy into this reality and you know something ain't right. You know this other kind of being, even though it tends to be ill-fitting or unseen or maladjusted or like a recording that's just off just a bit. This is another of those pesky tangents. We'll talk about this one next. The point is that you cannot quite fall for reality as is, not in the way you see other folks doing. You do, because you think that the ill-fitting, unseen, maladjusted, just a bit off thing is real too. You know there is more to this than meets the senses, and you are just waiting for someone to turn on the light and for it to go, aha! You're waiting for the man behind the curtain to screw up. Some of us don't look too hard or wait too long because that's when the nothing tends to hit you, but we'll leave that for now. Most of us expect that life shows us how to grow. We take this concept to heart. We ask ourselves, why, since I know this other stuff, why is it that if I know this, I can't ever get it to come around and say hi? Why is it so immensely intangible? Even in society, you would think that as social of a species as humans are, that this way of being would have been communicated in some way. There would be some stories in society about it. And it is, only to a degree. This is a psychic phenomenon, but it feels more like more that it's not just about asking us to consider the ability to see around a corner. It's like this experience is asking us to grow in some new, not fully understood way that stands apart from the request to exist as a psychic person. And most of us have been busting ass trying to figure out what we are supposed to be growing from this. Like I said, we expect that this life that we live, to explain how to grow within the context of itself. But see, that's just it. This experience, the hidden people, it's been getting us to grow outside of this box we call reality, and that's why we lack the context to grow into. This is not growth into morality. Morals are still polarity, and a lot of us have already realized that polarity is still part of the funny business, that it's not quite right. And, I'm not going to get philosophical about morality. Most of my hidden folks think life will beget life, which is to say they are disinclined to act in ways that fail to represent life, which makes it moot. But this is all just judgments anyways. They're still placing limits on the self, and this is as much philosophy in regards to morals as I'm going to get here. What was I talking about? Getting us to grow ourselves beyond the limitations we perceive, when we mostly have been getting what constitutes extra data about life in this experience, and we fail to get something useful We just get that there is this limit somehow, this invisible wall we keep busting our heads on, trying to get past. See, the extra data we get is that the wall exists, but damn if we know what to do about it. Mostly, there are a few common pitfalls that we tend to fall into, and one is that this indomitable confusion is our limitation. And then also how to deal with that limitation, which gets kind of confusing to articulate on account of all the various storylines I know of so far about how this has manifested itself in other people's lives. I shall probably be attempting to articulate that next, so stay tuned for what to do with a limit.